Okay, so we're live. Welcome back, everyone, to another video. This is one that is really sort of ad-lib, and it's going to be interesting. Stu's laughing his head off before he even gets into the start of this. But this is very similar to the one that I did with Jen recently, Stu, over the whole thing with Tifa.
I saw your video on that. Yeah.
Yeah. The internet has been at it again, so I'm starting to branch out into this area where I get people's opinions based on what the internet is doing.
Okay.
And we match it up in the comments and see what people say later on. With Tifa, I'm still undecided because the remake does look cool. The old design looks cool. Still can't make my mind up. Me and Jen talked a lot about it in terms of how the new costume adds mobility and other stuff. Generally looks really cool, but the way that the colour separation is, your eyes are drawn to the overwhelming amount of black. That's just a summary of it.
Okay.
A lot of people thought exactly the same thing and were like, yeah, classic design, wish that had been done better. The image that we used, which was just a fan edit that I found on Chan, wasn't exactly the best thing ever. But at least it kind of conveyed what it could have been if it was more accurate. This one is going to be interesting for both of you, because recently Chan has dropped a bunch of bombs that have been screenshots from other websites, and Square admits to various different changes in the game. So this comes down to the whole deal of what we thought was going to be changed in the actual released version compared to the original. The main thing that was originally dropped was that Square Enix apparently has an ethics department that told developers to reduce Tifa's breast size. So where everybody was there saying, "Oh, she's been reduced," you know, that's terrible or whatever. We said, like, okay, if it's realistic, it's fine. But everybody else was screaming out and saying, "Oh God, you know, it's terrible, it's terrible." They've definitely done it, and we thought, well, maybe not. That's actually been confirmed now. So they've actually gone ahead and reduced her breast size. It's not a big deal. That one isn't. But then recently, a couple of other channels pulled up other snippets of that. And the other snippets included such interesting things as different dialogue changes that seem to be included in the game, which, you know, that's not a big deal. But then it comes to interesting snippets like, the Hunnie Bee in cross-dressing event is still in. We've made it more modern. If we made the facility like we did in the original game, the physical unease would be staggering, so that's no good, says Nomura. Now, Jem, what's your take on that before I get into this? Because I've always said it's going to be uneasy anyway because of the way that that sequence was done.
All I was going to say first is that our version was already censored.
Yeah.
So, that's not a bad thing. And I always said the group room was probably going to get edited because of how it reads. So, I guess they're going to do it, but not have it in such the bathtub way. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. So we talked about this ages ago, and I thought I'd just bring it up again for a laugh, because it's stuff like that. There are a couple of other things that they're doing, saying they're going to have it play out over countless events. Otherwise, it wouldn't have to be two different Blu-rays. They wanted Tifa to be more athletic, so the ethics department told her to tighten her chest and give her more abs, but she doesn't look like she has abs in the trailer. No way.
It sounds like they half listened to that.
Yeah, the emphasis that they have on immersion and exhilaration seems really cool, and with each character having a different affinity. With items are required for MP recovery now. That one's a weird choice for me.
Wait, how do you ether?
I don't know. The way that it's down there seems really weird.
Yeah, how do you ether if
Yeah.
That's the way that it's noted.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, for the sake of level design, there were a few new enemies added. But the one thing for me that I take away from that, because you just know the internet is going to be up in a steam about this already. I've seen Chan basically going, "Oh God, it's been censored, it's terrible, you know, Tifa's been censored, it's been changed." well done, guys. We've screwed it up. We're not buying your game anymore. No, the focus on today was what you think the major changes are going to be, especially after seeing the Tifa reveal and everybody's reaction, and then hearing about the Hunnie Bee Inn and that being changed. Because obviously, the like Jen said, we got the censored bit, but I'm just trying to think of where else they're going to censor, because the bathtub scene was funny, but because it was in low res, you couldn't see anything. So we had this talk ages ago, just like we had the Tifa one.
It's more as well as what's said, as like I jokingly said, like, oh no, I was little, it's kind of okay, it's kind of funny. And then when you're older, it's like, wait, what's actually going on in there? Why did he just say it hurt? It hurts. And then you start like seeing it from another point of view, and you're like, what just happened?
What just happened? What took place here? Oh God!
I don't want them to remove them, even though it sounds horrible, like they were thrown in as sort of a joke. I actually like them. It'd be nice if they actually added them more to the story as a group, and give them like a bit more interaction and not just a comedy.
Yeah, not just the stereotypes being used for comedic value.
I don't think they're gonna get rid of what are they called? Big Sis's gym. It's a transvestite that runs the big buff gym where you go get the wigs from. Like all the guys are big buff, and she's there running it.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to up that, so it's going to be more of a mix instead of you either have this person or this person.
Yeah.
They're going to change the Dom's place.
Hey, audio.
They're going to definitely change the Dom's place.
What, the Don's place?
Well, they'll probably keep the torture dungeon.
I was going to say, I think they'll change the torture dungeon, but that's only because of the way it looked in the original, but I don't know.
I think they will keep it to show, like, no, it is, like, kind of the vicious gang type thing. I think they might change a little what happens if you lose.
I can't remember what happens if you lose.
You're basically given to his men.
Oh, that's not good. That is not good.
And then when you get out, whichever girl wasn't selected is escaping from the torture dungeon with another guy. Which again is
so it's kind of implied off screen.
A lot of implied in quotations. So I think they're gonna try and keep it the same, but they're gonna, as I say, they're gonna tone it down, make it a bit modern, try to be a bit more sensitive. But I think they're gonna try and keep as much as possible.
The thing is, how can you be sensitive about an area like that? I'm trying to think about it myself. Like, Stu, what do you think about all of this, apart from just sitting in the corner and staying out of it?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Stu is like, I'm staying out of it.
I just don't know.
Because we already said in the previous video, it'd be funny if they just had Cloud dress up in the soldier outfit and then just throw the dress over the top of it, like and everybody else play it as a really stupid scene, because he has to have the reveal. Which is what Jen said, where the dress gets thrown off and then he's got the soldier outfit underneath.
You could literally make that as an unlockable outfit.
Yeah, no, we said like it'd be funny if they did Resident Evil 2 style, where you could just play the entire thing back with Cloud in a dress. That'd be hilarious.
Make it like a New Game Plus type of thing, or like end-game item.
We said the same thing about the costumes for Tifa, when we were saying unlockables would be good. But for the Hunnie Bee Inn specifically, I'm actually trying to think, when they use the words modernize it, that could mean anything.
No, I understand where Jen's coming from, and I agree what she's on about. They will update it from today's society, in other words, because it was a game from 1997, was it?
97.
Yeah.
Come
on, dude, you should know. You're a big fan.
They're going to probably keep it more with the American European one, so they've not got the board with the women.
I don't even remember that. Like, what were the changes between the Japanese and the European one?
When you peeked into some of the rooms were changed, and the women were advertised on the board.
I didn't. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have seen that. That's on the Japanese version.
Oh, okay. So obviously they're not gonna have that. I'm just trying to think of what else they can change.
They'll probably make the Hunnie Bees more like hostesses for the rooms. And
yeah.
Probably make the Hunnie Bee Inn a little bit more like a love hotel. But maybe like one of them love hotels that has a little back door of, if you don't have a partner, we can give you one.
I'm thinking about it at the moment. I imagine they'd make it a little bit like the Playboy Mansion.
Do you think they'll add these in though?
See, that's the thing. I don't know where they're going to go with it, because I imagine they do it a bit like the Playboy Mansion, with the bees being the Playboy bunnies, because that's more or less what it was. That's like the most softcore thing you could ever do with it and still keep that theme.
That would actually be really cool. Say they take it and actually open it up so it actually becomes like you got the bar, the cabaret, you got like a gambling section.
Yeah,
because then it would kind of fit more in with the Dawn thing, so they open it up and then you have the section where you've got the back rooms and you can still do the peeking, but like in the ones we got, when you peeked in, it wasn't people doing the dirty, it was like one of them was role playing and you could hear his staff complaining, why are we doing this?
So, yeah, they should have like little comedy bits like that when you peek through. Yeah.
They probably changed the I can't remember exactly what they called it because it was censored out. It was like the beep room where you walk in, have a kind of panic attack and you wake up with the... Oh, I can't remember his name, the one in the group room as well, the leader, the cool guy that said needs more time. He's basically trying to wake you up by slapping you.
Okay.
Well, it's the whole thing of like, because you're basically hysterical, it's a whole kind of joke thing of you getting slapped.
Yeah.
So it's basically that's a check that you're okay.
See, the thing is, I have never... And this is going to sound weird, so I'm going to have to explain this. I've never remembered or bothered to enjoy the wall market section of the game, because most of the time I'm too busy focused on the overworld stuff much later on. So I honestly can't remember it as well as other parts of the game. Namely the City of the Ancients bit, for obvious reasons. So when it comes back to it, all I remember is you dress Cloud up as a woman, you go to the mansion, you have to save either Tifa or Ares or both of them at the same time, and there's a dungeon which looks kind of dodgy. That's all I remember about it.
You know, a place where you go get food, and you could order the Korean platter sushi or space special, in which then you could turn around and say it was good, or it's like, you could say nothing, you could say it tastes like a dog's dinner, or it was alright, and they give you a coupon, in which then you go to the pharmacy, and he says you have a choice of, I think it's deodorant, what's it, when you've got the runs, that medicine, I keep saying condensation, but it's
condensation, constipation.
Thank you.
I love the way that's on recording now. Well done.
And I can't remember the other one because now I've just made an idiot of myself. But you need the one where you've got the runs because there's a lady in the toilet.
Yeah,
you can give her any of that medication and she'll still say thank you, and somehow you can give her deodorant and it fixes her problem. But
anyway,
then you got the gym where you get the wig from. You have to beat the win at squats.
This is just on the way to the mansion, right? Because this is the lead up to it, getting all the clothing sections.
Yeah, so, but basically, Eris had the idea and you're just going along with it because she finds it hilarious.
She finds it hilarious and you can't really complain because you're just like, oh, whatever.
It's the only idea. Then there's a guy that runs another a store who has a private problem he asks Cloud for. I don't get why it's private. But he wants you to go to the hotel, you spend the night, you use a vending machine, and you buy one of the three things. You hand it him and he gives you a tiara depending on how much you spend.
Okay.
I have a feeling
that might have been changed.
I think that vending machine was censored. I think that hotel was actually meant to be a love hotel. Because if you talk to the guy outside, he tries to get you in.
Yeah.
Trying to think. So the woman gives you the underwear, you get the wig, the tiara. In the Hunnie Bee Inn, you can get them to put makeup on you, and that's when you get the underwear. The other woman gives you perfume, sorry.
Yes, so you get all of this, you put it all on, then you go to the inn, and that's where, I'm trying to remember because in order, I can't remember what happens at the beginning, but you end up going down into the dungeon to save, I think it's either Tifa or Ares at one point, and then you go back up and find the other one with the Don, and then you save the other one from the Don, and then you threaten to kick him in the balls.
Yeah, that's if you don't get picked.
Yeah.
If you get picked, then them two run into, in quotations, save you. depending on your interaction, that can be very interesting because you can play along. You can ruin your cover, or you can basically lie and say there's another man in your life and his name's Barrett.
Yeah.
So I imagine
Barrett
getting back to the conversation instead of just describing the events of the game that everybody's probably gonna have already played. I reckon they'll keep the comedic bits for obvious reasons. They can probably play those off still the same, apart from the bits where the graphics are going to need to be changed, like the pool bit. Like we said, if they play it off, like Playboy Bunny style, they can probably get away with that, but it'll probably be, like you said, Jen, and when you said about the gambling thing, that made a lot more sense immediately to me, just remembering whereabouts it is, and besides the fact that the Dom probably wants a lot of ladies, a lot of money, it makes sense to have like a gambling den in there, so I imagine they're going to take it in sort of a casino style angle, rather than being full on Love Hotel, because that senses it a load without them even need to doing as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Honey Casino type of thing.
Yeah.
And as I was explaining it then, I think there already is one where was supposed to be one. So that does knock out the Love Hotel. I think for the group room, they're gonna change the bath scene somehow. Probably make the bath bigger, because that bath was tiny.
It's either that or they just take it out completely and have the group in there just doing like exercises or whatever. I don't know.
You probably get to hang around with them, like you go out drinking and just generally hanging out with them.
That's if they even keep that room, you know, and those guys.
They might just like, instead of being in a room, you end up seeing them in the casino, and depending on your interaction depends on what happens.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if we're going off the whole thing, because it sounds really easy now to think about it. If they go the whole casino angle, they can just have a load of people chilling out in there for no reason and get loads of interactions that way, and still have people queuing up outside going, oh, I want to get in, this is going to be awesome, and having them thrown out for maybe skipping out on paying, or the fact that they don't have any money anymore, so it's still got people queuing up and being thrown out, but not for the same seedy reasons as the original, which does censor it, but not fully, so it gets them like in that halfway point where it's like, yeah, you can still satisfy people and say it's kind of faithful, but it's not full on seedy like it used to be.
Or
you know,
they just hint towards, like, there is a seedy side hidden behind it, but Cloud isn't interested really in that, and plus his with, like, Aerith is waited outside, and he'd be like, this is a bit awkward.
That's a thing, actually, though. If they do keep it the casino, like, if they do this casino idea, because I honestly think it sounds good already, even though it'd be censoring it. I'm convinced that they'll probably do this now, based on the whole thing with Tifa.
You just send it to Square, really.
Send it to Square and be like, we got this idea right. You can go halfway on this. No, if they do that, then what's the reason for having Tifa and Ares be there? Like, Tifa's obviously got to be kidnapped. That's part of the story.
Well, she's not got... That's the thing, though. She's not kidnapped.
I can't remember.
She's gone there willingly.
Oh, God. I was trying to remember that bit. See, this is what I mean.
You're basically hanging out with Ares at the park, and you see Tifa dressed up very nice on her way to Walmart.
That was it.
And then you go there, and you find out she's basically trying to get to see the Dawn. And so you're like, Cloud's like, I've got to go rescue her. And he's like, well, she doesn't need rescuing to begin with, but we need to get in there. The Don only wants to see women. Aerith is like, I'll go get her. And he's like, you're not going in there alone. Angst.
Yeah,
she's not angst at all.
Tifa's basically doing like an undercover thing, isn't she? But I can't remember why she's even doing it in the first place.
It's because people have been attacking... Someone was attacking the sector, and he found out there was a plan going on, and he interrogated one of the people, and it said the Don's name. It's basically the planning on blowing up the pillar.
Yeah, so that holds it up.
But they don't know that yet, I don't think, and that's why she was off to see the Don to find out what they were properly planning.
Yeah, because isn't it the Don spells it out more or less, or tells you that Shinra's planning on doing it, then you end up marching all the way into Shinra headquarters.
No, basically, you get him to spill the beans because of the threats. And then as you're leaving, he says, why do you think I've actually spilt my beans? It's because I know I've already won. Drops you to the sewers, you get out the sewers, get to the sector, find out Shinra's already up there with Barrett because they're going to blow it up.
Then that takes place.
Right. Then Aerith gets kidnapped at the same time as the pillar's getting blown up. So you have to escape, and that's when you go after Shinra.
Yeah, so the end game for this entire thing is going to be the Shinra headquarters, I reckon, and then getting out of it, with the final bit being where they get to the overworld bit after the bike chase.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, that looked good. The the bike combat from what I saw from.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
It looked pretty cool.
Just looked at the chat. Audio about says, I wonder if summons will be like Final Fantasy 15. I think they're going to be more connected to the materia, but they're probably going to have a charge thing for them.
I think it'll be part of what they use, like the ATB meter for it, because they said they were using the ATB meter for a lot of things, like special moves and other things, so you'll have to build the gauge for it. But in terms of effort for it, I would like them to at least look very similar, because the 15 stuff had a lot of flashy stuff going on. What are you laughing at, Jen?
I just suddenly thought of the nightmare situation that could have happened. You're in the middle of a fight and you're like, okay, I can do this fight in 5 minutes, I've got to get going, I'm in a rush. Suddenly Knights of the Round starts playing on its own. You're like, right, that's it, my plans are ruined.
Did you check to see whether you had Quadramagic equipped?
Quadramagic and then Mimic.
Yep.
Mimic, yeah.
That was like the age-old joke that everybody told their friends in high school or whatever. It's like, I win every major boss battle by just using Mimic, Knights of the Round, and Quadramagic.
Quadramagic, Knights of the Round, Mimic, go make a drink of tea.
So, in terms of...
I was going to say, like, sorry, but isn't there like 2 new summons if you pre-order it or something?
Yeah, there's Mini Chocobo, or it's something like Mini or Chibi Chocobo, and then there's Carbuncle as well, and there's
Cactor.
and Cactor.
I was just wondering, like, because I've read that there was some new summons. So.
But yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of the scenario and how it would play out based on what we've already talked about. It would still be going and getting the information from him. That bit would play out. That wouldn't be changed. I'm trying to figure out in order of what could possibly be changed based on the scenario that we've thought up of, and whether that is what you think they'd go for. Because at the moment, I'm more or less convinced it's going to be like that because it's an easy solution. It solves most of the problems they've got without doing much apart from just restructuring and rearranging the furniture a little bit, basically.
It's like the other way they could do it is still like have the casino, and then you sort of have the strip club and all this other stuff, and then you have the hint towards the seedy side, because as if they can hint towards it and don't show it, they don't get in trouble.
Exactly right.
And I think, as I say, I think they're going to not be as jokey with the gay characters. I don't want them to remove it because it would be heartbreaking. As I said, I want them to have more story. I would make kind of more sense instead of say, okay, Cloud, you now got a wig, a dress, the underwear and the perfume, go knock him dead. Like, have them actually help him. Like,
dress up.
Dress and speak. Like, you're going to have to speak like a woman, you're going to have to walk like a woman, you got to try being convincing, because he's walking around with a giant sword on his back, he's not going to look very feminine.
I was just about to say, how long do you want this sequence to go on for? It's not too long overall.
What I'm thinking is they're going to extend it, because the whole Midgar section's got to fill a Blu-ray.
2 Blu-rays.
2 Blu-rays.
So,
if you think about all the Midgar sections that go together, that's not going to fill a Blu-ray.
I'm trying to think, because the Midgar section features the bombing run at the beginning with the guard Scorpion. Then it's the escape to the slums. Then it's finding Earth. Then it's the Wall Market section. Then it's the pillar. Then the bike chase. No, sorry. Then it's the HQ. Then the bike chase, right?
And then when you finish the bike, you're out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'm imagining that once you finish the bike chase, you're in the open world anyway on the normal game. Because if I remember rightly, doesn't it finish at the end of the highway and then you get given the whole thing of climbing down and then going out into the overworld?
Yeah, and you can't go back until
later on. Much later on.
You can go in at disc 2. I don't think you can go in at disc 1. I think the door's locked. You have to wait for something. I'm trying to remember where it is. You get something for going through that door, but then eventually you do return to Midgar anyway because you have to parachute in.
Yeah, so...
Well, that'd be-
But that's long. That's a far away.
So, I mean, just getting up to Wall Market on the actual game was a pretty lengthy chunk of, gameplay. So, I don't know, maybe not for a speedrunner. Like, like with Caleb, I think, can do the entire thing in, like, 22 hours or something stupid.
I'll bring up his think. How long does it take?
You're going to find some glitches or something then.
No, I imagine they're going to extend most of the talking bits. They're going to have more cutscenes in it, because I imagine they'll want this to be cinematic as crazy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
imagine...
definitely.
I imagine they're going to try and do the whole, not sort of Metal Gear thing with it, but with what they've been doing presentation-wise so far, it looks like they're trying to do a mixture of gameplay and cinematics to make it a very, very, very cinematic and visual experience, you know.
I was going to ask, like, what do you think of the UI and the combat style?
Kingdom Hearts. Although a lot of people were saying
It's-
apparently it looks a lot like Final Fantasy 15, and then the joke is now just press R1 to win.
In a way, but it does look more Kingdom Hearts because you can still use like items, like
Yeah.
skills, all that type of. So you can still do what you can do. In
Caleb did like an analysis video on it, and I do like the way that he was saying about the whole thing of it seems a bit like a fighter in the fact that you have to build a gauge before you can use any other things like limit breaks or anything like that, because they all use ATB meter now. And the whole thing about slowing down time and stuff to maneuver around. That's cool, because again, like I said, that's another visual thing that makes it a more cinematic experience. That's going to be a meme by the end of this video. It's just the whole thing of they want to show off.
immersive.
They want to show off how much effort they've put into this thing. So obviously they're throwing in as many things as they can to either show off the world, show off the characters, or slow everything down so you can just admire everything that's going on. It's like when I looked at the trailers again, you see one part where they're fighting the I can't remember the name of it. It's like a droid robot, and it's basically like a train with legs. It's weird. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Sweeper or something like that in the file name on the trailers that they've shown. But you actually see in that section the little details. There's a load of them just in the background, just in individual bays, just deactivated. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that they had that thing going on because I was busy watching Cloud just carve up one with Braver.
Yeah.
No.
That cross slash though as well.
So that stuff's cool. But, yeah, in terms of changes, I don't know what else they'd change throughout the game. I imagine the most changes we're going to see is the Midgar bit, to one, extend it, and two, to censor that just a little bit, because the Hunnie Bee Inn cannot stay the same given today's climate.
I don't think they'll add most of that in though.
They probably They might extend all of Walmart, so it's a lot bigger as well.
Oh god, how big do you want it?
Well, it's the whole thing. They're probably going to extend a lot more because now they can handle more areas.
Yeah.
Like in Crisis Core, how big. What's? I can't remember the section areas. Is it 3?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think it's 3.
It should be 3. Yeah.
Like they make that look so much bigger than it is in the original.
So do you reckon they'll use Crisis Core as kind of the basis for it then and build off that in terms of making areas much larger?
Yeah, and plus they're going to be expanding more because we saw the bit with Jess and everyone. So there'll be more stuff going on.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, considering how they've changed what happens to Jess in it, or at least it seems like it. So
they're going to make it so you care a lot more about them.
Yeah.
So it's
heartbreaking.
So when people haven't actually played the game are actually going to feel more affected.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like it, the way how detailed the material looks as well, especially when you put it in his sword as well.
I actually like the thing that they actually have the materia now featured in the weapons again, because that's the one thing, the smallest amount of detail that I thought, they might skip out on that, but no, they actually did include that, so I appreciate that kind of thing.
I hope in the menu we can just like mix and match, like you can do in the original with all the materia and that, so like I can use that, I can use this.
I hope they're not going to change it that like you actually do get new weapons. So and then it changes like what's on like Cloud's back and stuff, like when he gets the bat with the nail in it. That'll just be hilarious seeing that in HD.
with material.
So I don't get what they're on about here with one little thing that says each character has different enemy affinities.
Enemy affinities.
Yeah. Each playable character has different enemy affinities.
It probably either means what they're better against.
Like, yeah.
Like,
Probably, yeah.
like Barrett's going to be better against flying enemies. Like,
yeah, yeah.
like that boss you get in the elevator. Like, if everyone else doesn't have materia, like literally it's just Barrett just going to be shooting. I've done that once. I forgot to give people materia, then I got into that.
I think you're actually right about that, because in the video, the trailer stuff, it shows Barrett having steel skin, which Caleb already said it makes him feel like a ranged tank sort of character, because it's more of a defense thing. So it's like, I imagine the affinity thing that they're on about there is there are certain enemies that will be stronger against certain characters. So the idea is that you switch out.
And it might also be like certain characters dislike different enemies more, like types of enemies. So they're going to punch it a lot harder, or hit it, or smack it with a staff.
Yeah, I like Tifa's combat moves in that as well. The uppercut, so it should be pure melee again. So that should be fun.
I still don't get why they think advertising is new. Getting your MP back by drinking ether. It's like you can revive someone now with a phoenix down.
Here you go. I'm alive.
Do you have enough Phoenix Downs for the end of what would be probably about disc 4? No, it might not. Actually, it might be after that, because just think about it, right? How much do you reckon the new console is going to come out and we'll have a re-release of this, which will be like HD times 2 or something stupid?
Like the PS5, it'll be like the remake.
Yeah, it'll happen, because just think about it, right? This generation is coming to an end in terms of consoles, and we're ending very soon and transitioning to the new stuff. But they're making a Final Fantasy game and finishing this generation of consoles with it. It doesn't make sense to finish a generation with it and then not carry it on to the next one. So I reckon if they do another one, they'll re-release this one and then release another one as well, depending on how long it takes on this gen. It might be another 2 or 3 consoles before we finish the entire game here. So
it'd be like PS5 and is it? Project Scarlet.
Yeah.
Because I know Halo Infinite's on, it's coming on launch, so I'm wondering if they'll have remake as like a backwards compatible type of thing.
Possibly.
Audiobot, do you mean the Earth weapons, Sapphire, Diamond, Ruby, Emerald? Because Dark Aeons is a Final Fantasy X thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that. In terms of the summons, I hope they keep the summons the same. Like, I know we're going slightly off track here. I was actually going to finish in a moment until we got sidetracked. But yeah, no, finishing off, I hope they keep the summons the same in terms of maybe not just the design, but the way that the affect everything. Because, like, Bahamut's design was really cool in the original, and then you see it in Advent Children, and I really do not like Bahamut's Sin. I know it's different, but goddamn.
You know the way how it came in Advent Children. I hope they have something visually like when you start summoning. I hope they have something visual like that. But obviously, like you said, I prefer the original.
I think they're probably going to. I think gaining them is going to be slightly different. I think they're going to go kind of a bit more Final Fantasy 10 and 15 to it, where you sort of have to
work for them.
Yeah, work for them. And maybe like certain times you can't use it, like Neo Bahamut. If you're inside like deep underground, it's either it won't do it or it actually like shows the whole like a hole where he's actually come through.
I was gonna say like Neo Bahamut was my example of things that I would not change because of how ridiculous it is. Where you just stood there and the next minute it just rises you up on an island out of nowhere, and then it's just like I'm just gonna blow the entire thing away. While you stood on it.
This is going to be visually insane.
Like, I can't wait. Hopefully, they'll do all of the summons like we've had previously. So we had all 3 Bahamuts. Then we had Odin, Shiva, Ifrit, Knights of the Round,
Hades.
Trying to remember.
The Bull. Kaju? Kuju?
Trying to pronounce it.
I forgot.
I think it's Kuja.
The Leviathan. And I'm trying to remember if there were any others that we've missed.
You said Ramu, didn't you?
Oh yeah, Ramu.
Typhoon. Typhoon's one.
I can't remember Typhoon.
I hardly use Typhoon, that's why I'm like, how do I explain Typhoon? I don't know, I just shove it in the corner out the way over
I just got Bahamut on everybody and then spammed dragons.
So good, Bob. It really was.
I mean, how can you go wrong with laser firing dragons? Come on.
I'm actually looking at that, I can't remember Typhoon.
I know it's going off that, but I think they'll keep Sephiroth the same as well, everything the same.
He's already been shown off, he's the same.
No, I mean, like in combat and everything. In
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain Typhoon, and I've seen him either.
Oh, it's fine.
He's like an angry goblin cloud demon bull.
Yeah,
But
he looks very angry.
They've already said that Sephiroth is going to be showing up a little bit more, and actually, like, they're not going to do the visions the same. You know, like when you saw the trailer and he showed up and made it look as if he was stood in front of one of the burning houses from Nibelheim.
Yeah.
Basically, they said they're going to be doing that a lot more, so I imagine it's a bit more like, as an example, you know, like Dead Space 2, where they had the stuff messing around with your head, I think it was, so you were constantly seeing stuff.
Yeah, in your head, yeah.
So I imagine it'll either be like that, or like interactive sections, or they'll do it like the cutscene that they did at E3, where they showed off him actually being there and just messing around with Cloud's head, and the next minute it's like, poof, gone.
So it's...
I was going to say, I think what they might be doing is replacing what is Zack. Well, some people think it's Zack, some people think it's Jenova. I stand with the Zack side of when you get the black screen and the text, because you can't really do that unless you just have a voice.
Oh, that reminds me. That's an interesting part. The top bullet point here might link in with it. It says, the Watchmen of Fate, the black mist in the trailer, are mysterious beings that appear before the party wherever they go.
Oh, yeah.
I hope those who have played the original game will enjoy the new elements. That's the exact text. I don't know what the heck that's about.
I can think, my brain's just slowly like gone, I've got kind of like 5 different ideas for that, but we'll leave that for now.
But anyway, yeah. There's certain things that we hope we won't change anymore. Yeah. I honestly want it just to be as close to the original, but the stuff that they've shown off at the moment is fine. It's just that whole thing of you just know the internet will blow up yet again if anything else is announced before it's released.
Can you imagine if they do like is a playable demo for everyone, like just before like the release?
What, like a month before or something?
Like just before Christmas or something.
You know what would be crazy? Finishing off.
What?
Res Evil 2 style demo where you only get half an hour to play.
You say, you go up to that bit, no, bye.
The other problem is they would find Hunnie Bee in, and if it is a casino, that's it. All the money's gone.
I'd just be like, yeah, there we go, casino.
Put gacha pods in it. It's like, Dave, how you done? Well, I've almost completed 5 sets. Dave, you've been playing this game for 10 hours. I know, I just need to get a bit more money to try and get the last gacha pod.
I'm convinced they're going to do that now. Anyway,
gacha pods?
No.
That'll be awesome.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again on the next one. Bye!